All right, legends, let me just put this softer in the background. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in, assist with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. I'm purely here from an entertainment and educational perspective. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin here together. Let's get ready for the week. What can we expect? And as per the thumbnail, yes, the bulls are, the bulls, I wish, the bears are still in control, okay? Guys, let's just look at this last structure. I'm just going to focus on this structure, okay? Let's just look at this structure. On this little structure, okay, from a structural perspective, we have a high and we have a low. We have a lower high and we have a lower low. We'll have a lower high and we have a lower low. So from a structural perspective, the bears are still in control. And we're going to analyze it here, and I'm going to show you, well, which level needs to get hit to give a little bit of hopium to the bulls. Okay, because also I'm here on the daily time frame, just looking at Bitcoin. You can see that this move here to the downside ended with an extreme high amount of volume. And that usually signifies two things. It's either the end of something and the beginning of something new, or it's a third wave. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And the wave with the most amount of volume, you have to give priority as a third wave. So for the bulls, you want this to be the end, and you want an impulsive structure to start forming over here. For the bears, okay, you want price to create another lower high and continue the momentum to the downside. Right. And then you create basically your 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Because you have a double 1, 2, you should end up at least with a 4, 5, 4, 5. Double 4, 5. Let me just see if everything is coming through here crispy clean. Where's my music? I don't hear my music in the background. Okay. It's ever so slightly there in the background. I can hear it. I just don't want it to distract everyone. I know I just literally dived right into the technical analysis. But that's what this channel is about, okay? I'm not going to beat around the bush. Okay, let's just dive straight into the technical analysis. So for now, as per the thumbnail, yes, the bears are 100% still in control, looking at it from a structural perspective. There's a chance, okay, that the low is in, but then we need to start forming an impulsive structure, and that's what I'm going to analyze now on the smaller time frame to show you which level will give higher probability that the structure could be starting to turn around, and that the low is either in or very close, where price is going to find its feet and continuation back to the upside. Right. Also on looking at this structure over here, well, the bulls are fighting, guys. You still have a higher low. Okay, so the bulls have a chance, but based on this structure, the bears are still in control. Okay. So let's quickly discuss the doomsday scenario. I will go through some comments in a moment, but what was interesting about the daily time frame for me is because you can see acceleration here to the downside. You can see acceleration here to the downside on a high amount of volume, okay, which I now have to give priority as a third wave. So you have your 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and you want to see your 4, 5, 4, 5 to the downside. And then we can start talking about bullish case scenarios back to the upside. So I'm now specifically just highlighting, let's talk about the bearish case scenario, where the low is not in and we're still going to claim the low twice. As a minimum, twice. Okay? In that scenario, what you would like to see is the following. Okay, I know I've done a lot of work this morning, so let me explain it in detail. Right, so you have a little bit of a parallel channel, and this is what I call channeling. In Elliott wave theory, they also teach you how to channel. Okay, you basically connect your 1s and your 2s over here, right? And typical behavior of your force is that they do not tap the top of this channel. Preferably, they do not tap the top of the channel and they keep on taking the lows every time. As soon as you see a fourth wave tap this top of this channel, it decreases the probabilities for a fourth wave, and it could signify a reversal back to the upside. That's basically your trend that you're watching there for potential breakout. Okay, so let's entertain the scenario. So in the scenario, what we expect is still 2 4 5s to the downside. We have a 1 2, okay, 3 4 5, and inside of your third wave you still want a 1 2 3 4 5. So you still expect 2 more lows, and these little fourth waves should not tap the top of the parallel channel. Okay, so as long as price rejects, does not tap the top of the channel, I'm just keeping it simple here, you could still expect price to fall to the downside. What is interesting about this scenario is that, I mean, I can just imagine the sentiment. We are already in extreme fear for the last 2 weeks. I can just imagine the extreme fear if this scenario had to play out. Okay, now we have lost the low. Now we're starting to change market structure. So in the scenario, it is the retracement, okay, that's going to give me the clues as to, does it want to continue to the upside? Because we actually created an C flat. This is the end, and now we continue the bull market. Or is this the start of something ugly, and we are actually now starting the bear market to the downside? So, I mean, there's still a lot that needs to happen, guys. Okay, in this scenario, this specific scenario, if this is an ABC flat, well, that is the end. And then we can expect upwards momentum in excess of $200,000 Bitcoin, because that's the minimum target for a third wave to the upside if this scenario had to play out. Okay, then there's also another scenario. Well, what if this was the top? Okay, in a ending diagonal on the macro time frame, and this is now your first leg to the downside. You form a three-wave structure up and you continue momentum to the downside. So all I can say, there's still a lot that needs to happen, but it is how, if we form 2 more lows here and we take this low, it is how price climbs to the upside. Is it corrective? Remember, guys, during all of these consolidations, okay, price pumped and it corrected. And during this entire correction, I said there's a higher probability to take the high. Price pumped, there was a correction. And I said there's still a higher probability because we could successfully identify a corrective structure that carried higher probability than the bearish structure. So I will do the same in the opposite direction. If this looks extremely choppy and corrective, I'm going to be looking for shorting opportunities for another leg to the downside. If it looks impulsive and the impulsive structures looks cleaner than the corrective structures, well, then there's a good chance that we're going to continue the bull market back to the upside. So who knows? No one has that crystal ball. But if the only thing that I'm highlighting here is if this is the end, if this was the end in Jan, 25th of Jan, 20th of Jan, okay, and this is A, and this is a B, and this is a C, well, in this scenario, you expect momentum to continue, which means we've actually already invalidated the bull cycle theory, the 4-year cycle theory, because the bull market actually came to an end, and we have already been in a corrective structure for almost a year. So we've been in a bear market for a year. We just didn't realize it because you had a corrective structure in a flat that takes the high. So it fakes bullish momentum, but it's a corrective structure. And it is common. Flat corrective structures are very common in all stock markets. Okay. Right. So let me zoom back into the scenario. You can see I have an invalidation. Okay. I have a nice little invalidation over here. So to give priority to the bulls. Okay, now this is where I'm going to start leaning a little bit more towards the bullish case scenario. So in the bearish case scenario, you know that the biggest move has already happened with the highest amount of volume. So it would be very strange for price to capitulate here to the downside. Because of this mess, the move with the highest amount of volume already took place. So if the lows gets taken again, you don't expect a capitulation. You expect price to take the lows, find its feet, and consolidate back to the upside. Take the low, find its feet, and consolidate back to the upside. You don't expect a capitulation, $10,000, $20,000 moves to the downside. Okay, so it needs to bounce, take the low, bounce, take the low in this zone without topping the top of the channel. And if where price is right now, if price continues to the upside and it taps the 0.618, then I'm going to have to start giving priority to the bulls. Because after a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, your fourth wave is not allowed to tap the 0.618 from number 2 to number 3. And then again, so let's say it falls down here, and then I will have a fib from this high to the low, not allowed to tap the 0.618. Fourth waves are not allowed to. It's a no-no, it breaks the rules. Okay. So we'll just have to now monitor the momentum here to the downside. So in this scenario, I still expect a little bit of a relief rally here to the upside to at least come and tap my green box where I have the fourth wave. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, where I will be looking for shorting opportunities. When you take your fib from this high to this low, 0.382 to the 50% Fibonacci, not tapping the top of the channel, is where I will be looking for shorting opportunities, because that is a fourth wave target for another leg to the downside. And then I will do a same thing again when we get this leg to the upside. I will be looking for shorting opportunities to take the low again. And then after this low, I'm going to be looking for aggressive longing opportunities back to the upside. Okay, that's just, I'll show you guys now why that alarm is going off. Right, legends, this is one scenario. Well, now, okay, as always, as a technical analyst, I have to also consider the bullish case scenario. What if this doomsday scenario does not play out? Okay, I do see a lot of people are keeping an eye on this doomsday scenario. A lot of people are expecting now this doomsday scenario. What if, because also a corrective structure can end on a high amount of volume. So it's either a third wave, this is either your third wave, and you're still going to dump here to the downside, or it's the end and we are building an impulsive structure. Well, then I would say the most important level for the bulls to reclaim, and this is what I posted for our Legends community this morning as well, price needs to claim the top of the channel, which is in confluence with a 0.618. That is what's going to trigger me to look for aggressive long opportunities back up to the upside. Whether it takes the low or not, okay, there's a good chance that you're going to move up. Okay, basically break the trend, right? Close some high time frame candles, comes back for retest, maybe then that's your longing opportunity. Hopefully it builds a nice trend. There's just too many options or scenarios that could still play out. So let's talk about the bullish case scenarios once we claim $97,000, 298, and that level might be slightly different depending on which exchange you use to trade on. Okay, so bullish case scenario. Okay, complex. There's a complex W or ABC here to the downside. So in the scenario, you have a W, okay, you have a W, you have a X, and your Y wave, which is down here, has formed a B, C in, and then you have your W, X, Y, and then your last C wave here to the downside. So if this is the low, okay, it's still the same thing, guys. You want the 0.6, you want $97,000 to be claimed. Okay. If this is the low, wait for a sign of strength. Wait for the fourth wave to get invalidated. As long as price is trading in this zone, there's always a chance to claim this low again. Once the 0.618 is tapped, then we have to start considering others. We have to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt. Okay, this could look very strong. Maybe that correction to the downside is going to be the trigger for a long opportunity back to the upside. So until $97,000, 217 is claimed, we have to give the bears the benefit of the doubt. And this is where I will be looking for shorting opportunities. Okay. Right, just keeping it very simple. I'm going to zoom into the 15-minute time frame. I'm just working my way down. Okay. Ever so slightly working my way down. So let's actually jump here onto the 8-hour time frame so we can just see the waves more clearly. There is a number of ways in which you can count this structure, guys. You can count this as a W, X, and an ABC. Okay, take my trend-based fib extension, measure W to the top of X. Just take the brushes here out the way so I can make sure that I have it at the right pivots. There we go. Okay. And what is interesting about this scenario, WXY, okay, it's not common for a Y wave to hit the 2.618. It's a very deep retracement, and this is why I'm considering this scenario here. An A, 3-wave B, and then a C to the downside. Okay, but interesting enough, we did bounce here exactly at the 2.618. Very interesting when I do this fib pool. Okay, very interesting. Right. Just want to see what else do I have here. I also have this scenario, okay, which is starting to carry lower probability because of the extension of this move here to the downside, but it's not invalidated, okay, where you basically have your W, your X, and an ABC to the downside, which is either in or it makes one more low. And the reason I say that there's a chance for one more low instead of that other bearish case scenario is because of this. 1, 2, 3 cannot be a 3-wave structure. C wave has to be a 5-wave structure. So you need another 4 and a 5. Okay, but this scenario is starting to diminish in probabilities. I would rather consider this scenario over here. This one. So it's your W and your X is exactly the same. Your W and your X is exactly the same. You're just counting the Y wave differently. Okay, you basically have an A, B, C. Right. So basically all I'm trying to demonstrate over here is that there's a chance the low could be in. And the bulls are holding on. Okay, and then we need to start seeing momentum shift back to the upside. So now let's go on to the 1-hour time frame. Okay, let's go back here onto the... this is something that I wanted to point out as well, guys. Here on the daily time frame, I've just taken a bars pattern from March. I see this is trending at the moment on Twitter. Just wanted to show everyone, if you look at this bars pattern, well, this has happened in the past. This structure has happened in the past where you have the fall, the bounce, the fall, the bounce, the fall, and then it just goes. Okay, and this is why this trend is so important. Right, so it has happened in the past, and this is a bars pattern from March of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. I just wanted to show everyone to say that it is possible for this to be the low. It is definitely a possibility, and there's a bars pattern to prove that this has played out in the past. Okay, but what is most important is what is going to happen here. Are we building an impulsive structure, okay, or a corrective structure from where prices stopped at the moment? So I will zoom into the smaller time frames and we can go and analyze that. Right, so back here onto the 1-hour time frame. I just want to switch on my trends. Okay, so momentum is starting to shift. So inside of the Legends Pro community, I think I was here on the 15-minute time frame, okay, and we were watching a couple of momentum shifts. Okay, the reason my alarm is going off is because price is chopping here through this trend at the moment. But one of the trends we were tracking on Friday was, first one I was tracking is this one, and yes, it had a beautiful breakout. Second trend I was tracking is this one. And this was a little bit of a choppy trend. Not an easy one, but I mean, your stop loss needs to go below the low. I told the pro community, okay, based on this trend, I don't like that price is closing candles below the trend. But I still had this trend as well, okay? And I was like, well, it actually just did a beautiful retest, right? But I mean, based on the strategy, your stop loss is supposed to go over there. So stop loss did not get hit. But this is the first momentum shift that I saw. And then we had this insane choppiness over the weekend. Insane amount of choppiness over the weekend. Now the question is it an impulsive structure or is it a corrective structure? Unfortunately, price action is still very young and we still need to give priority to the bears as per the thumbnail and the title. Okay. We have big support here. Yes, we do have big support here. Right, but now this trend line that I'm tracking here from this little high, okay, and now price is just chopping ever so slightly. Okay, not great, but there's a couple of scenarios that could now play out. Okay, a couple of scenarios. In this local move, this is now the one thing that's giving me a little bit of a clue, is to say that, well, if price is still going to go down lower, I do expect a little bit higher first. Okay, and it's all got to do with what happened. Where was that corrective structure? Is it this one? Let me go back onto the 1 hour time frame. I want to show everyone this corrective structure. Here we go. Let's switch off the trends. Okay, let me show you guys this little impulse here to the downside. So I'm counting this little structure here to the downside from this pivot. Okay, from this pivot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we formed an A, B, C flat structure. It is very rare, extremely rare. It's not impossible, but it's very rare to get the same corrective structure over here. So I'm looking for something different. If it's corrective, it's most probably going to be a WXY corrective structure because it's incredibly rare to repeat what happened over here exactly over here, and then it continues to take the low. The market makers are not going to make it this obvious. So in this corrective structure, just to show everyone what I mean, is that you have formed an ABC flat. Okay. You formed an A wave to the upside, a 3-wave B wave that tapped a flat target, and then a C that takes the high. So you have a B that tapped the flat, and you have a C that took the high of A. So you have basically a 3-wave corrective structure like such, a flat corrective structure. So I do have it here as well. Okay, so what now if the same thing plays out? Okay, let's see. Here we go. Right, I already have it marked out over here. This is definitely a scenario that could play out, but I'm not giving it the highest probability because it already happened. Exactly the same. Can you guys see? Let me just take this out. Oops, what did I delete? Did I delete the wrong thing? Yes, let me take this fib out. These are things that I pay attention to because the market does not repeat the same corrective structures. They change it to confuse people. Okay, so in this scenario, you have your flat. What are the chances you're going to get another flat? Exactly the same. I have it on my chart and I will be ready for a long. I will be ready for a long, just like we were ready for a long over here. And I will be ready for a short. And I will be ready for a short. Longing opportunity, shorting opportunity. Longing opportunity, shorting opportunity. This is a 3-wave corrective structure. This is a 3-wave corrective structure. But I highly doubt that this is going to play out because it already played out within the same structure. And the market does not like to give you the same thing twice. It's too predictable. Okay, because I already predicted it. It's too easy. Right, so the one that, if we are still going to form a corrective structure, the scenario that I like the most, if, guys, and I'm now wearing my bearish hat, okay, saying that we are going to do the doomsday scenario. We want a correction to the upside and we want continuation to the downside to take the low again. Okay, this is now the scenario that I'm discussing. So the scenario that I prefer from a corrective perspective is a complex WXY corrective structure, because the market does not like to repeat itself, especially within the same structure. So I would rather want to see an A, B, C in a W, a three-wave structure in an X that should not lose the 0.618. If the X wave does lose the 0.618 and it taps the levels down here, well, then you're going to get a high, a Y that does not have to take these highs. Then you're going to get a sideways triangle, most probably. If it goes down deep, you could get a triangle and it goes down without taking the highs. So there's just not enough price action at the moment for me. Okay, the most common WXY is a normal zigzag. 3-wave up, 3-wave down, 3-wave up. And then you form your WXY. They are a little bit more complex and more difficult to trade. So this is the scenario that I have now. So if price comes back down, well, I'll be paying attention for a long. Breaks the trend, okay? And you could form an ABC to the upside. The most interesting shorting area for me that I will be paying attention to, okay, is when you take a fib from the high to the low of this entire structure. Remember what I said on the larger time frame, guys. The bulls needs to claim the 0.618. The bears have to reject in this box. So this is still in this scenario in a WXY. This is where I will be looking for shorts. Interestingly enough, I did see that we created a fresh weekly level at the 0.382. Fresh weekly level at the 0.382. Okay, so it's almost, you know, I just want to zoom out here onto the, I don't even think I have to do that. Let's just look at the previous structures. Let's clean this up, okay, with the falls here to the downside. Clean that up, take this fib out the way. I'm going to have to use this chart, right? So I'm looking at the top to the bottom. Where did we retrace to over here? Okay, let's take a fib. Let's just see from a historic perspective. From the high to the low, we retraced at the 50%. Okay, we smacked the 50%. Did not tap the 0.618 and price rolled back down. Okay, then again, we had another dump here to the downside. Okay, so from the high to the low, where did price retrace to? Between the 0.382 and the 50%. Okay, so I'm comparing this move, Now I'm comparing what could happen here. You at least want the 0.382 to be claimed for continued momentum to the downside. Okay, so now again, I take a fib from the high to the low, while we are still a little bit further away from the 0.382. So this is why I'm expecting this corrective structure to still continue to the upside. I'm not saying, guys, it's going to go up in a straight line. Okay, I'm not, because this could be an ABC. It makes another 3-wave down, maybe takes the lows, SFP. Okay, that will be an interesting shorting opportunity. And it forms another 3-wave up. It rejects at the 0.382 in the zone. Okay, I think there's a naked point of control inside of there. We have that weekly level, okay, that I've just shown. Where's the weekly level? Oh, that's... I think I deleted that weekly level. I had a weekly level. Anyways, did I delete now that weekly level? Anyways, guys, I had a weekly level there, a weekly naked point of control, which I think I deleted by mistake. I will go and include it again. Okay, let's do this. I just want to make sure, guys, I don't want to lose my levels. Okay, don't want to lose my levels. So you go onto the weekly time frame. This is how I get my weekly levels. You get your fixed range volume profile from the low, from the high to the low. There we go. There's a weekly level over there. I switch on my weekly levels. Okay, yes, I did delete it. Copy this one. Right, and I drag it there to the red line. That is where the most amount of volume was traded. Right, then we go back to the 1 hour time frame. Here we go. Okay, and then when I take my fib, just repeat, okay, what I've said just now from the high to the low. Well, there you can see Okay, together in confluence with the 0.382, you have your 3-wave up, maybe you have a 3-wave down, and you have another 3-wave up. So definitely I will be looking at a shorting opportunity in this zone. If price continues to the upside and it taps the 0.618, well, that's going to start looking good for the bulls. Okay. Because you're going to invalidate a 4th wave. You're going to invalidate those multiple 4-5s to the downside. Okay? So it's going to... Once we tap $97,178, guys, okay, we're going to have to do an emergency live stream. Okay, if I'm not live already. Because then it opens up the door to bullish scenarios. And the bears could be losing control. But for now, I'm looking for a short in this zone. Okay, right, switching off the scenario. So the highest probability scenario for me is still a corrective structure to the upside. Yes, guys, you can go and count impulses. I'm going to go to the 15-minute time frame now, but oh, I'm on the wrong chart. Here we go. Okay, I'm still expecting a corrective structure to the down, up to the upside. WXY, you reject at the 50%, 0.382, you take the low again. You take the low again. This scenario, unfortunately, carries the highest probability now at the moment because the bears are still in control unless $97,000 can be claimed. From a simplicity perspective, while you're waiting for momentum to start shifting, okay, so here we go. You're waiting for momentum to start shifting, right? Your most important trend, well, one of the your most important trend is the one over here. That's your most important trend. Then I'm tracking this momentum over here, okay, to see, well, how price is going to react there. Well, this one is getting a lot of choppiness at the moment, but it has a chance that it could find its way back up. Okay, in the WXY scenarios that I've just discussed. Okay, so that's basically what I see at the moment. Now, let's analyze this little structure. It is not a beautiful impulse if this is an impulsive structure. It really looks better as a 3-wave structure, a B, and a C to the upside. And then maybe all of this is forming your X wave here to the downside. Maybe it sweeps the low, you get your W, you get your X, and then you get your another 3-wave up in your Y wave, and then we fall back to the downside. Okay? From an impulsive perspective, well, then what you would like to see is this could be a 1, 2, okay, because you have a contracting diagonal there, and you have 3 peaks, so it can be a contracting diagonal. And now you have another 1, 2, your invalidation is taking the lows. So if price makes a higher low over here, what you basically want to do is double 1, 2, you want to see a 1, 2, 1, 2, not take the low, okay, higher low, and it needs to lift off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then what you want to see is a 4, 5, 4, 5, because that retracement is going to claim $97,000. So I'm going to be very patient, guys. Can you see how patient I'm going to be? Is that if this is forming an impulsive structure to the upside, I'm not going to say, oh shit, I've missed the move. What now? No, whatever the case might be. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for this impulsive structure to finish. Because what you want to see after 1, 2, 1, 2 is not just a 3. You want to see a 4, 5, 4, 5. And you want price to look like it's finding weakness. And then it's the correction that becomes interesting for a longing opportunity. So if the structure is going to give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls, I'm going to have to wait for this scenario to play out. And I have to sit on my hands. For now, I'm still giving priority to the bears. Unless $97,000 can be claimed, which basically invalidates that 4th wave that I've spoken about. So can you guys see, I've started on the larger time frames. Now, when I talk about the smaller time frames, you can see how it fits into the puzzle. Okay. Or, okay, there's always an or. You could say, well, Dewald, this trend like really looks interesting to me. I'm just going to apply my trading strategy. Well, that's one way to trade. You know, you just need to apply your trading strategy with good risk management. Okay, this is where you enter. You're targeting the high as the ultimate profit-taking area. Your stop loss needs to go below the low. And in that bullish case scenario, your stop loss actually needs to go below this low. Okay, because in that bullish case scenario, 1 2 1 2, you should not take this low. If you do take this low, well, you could still go up in a B C W. You take the low and then you go up in a Y wave, so you can see, but then you want price to fall down. Okay, so it's not going to be easy to trade, but from a strategy perspective, this is how you plan to trade it. You take your FIP from the high to the low, and you can say, okay, well, I'm not going to wait for the highs before I take profits. I'm going to TP1 myself, TP2, TP3, TP4, TP5, TP6. You just TP yourself out of your position. As soon as you hit TP1, you can protect position. So you need to just apply your trading strategy. Okay, because the bulls have a chance here, guys. The bulls really do have a chance here. The structure does not look pretty from an impulsive perspective. Okay, because it could either be a double 1-2, like I've just highlighted. It just looks better as a three-wave structure. It looks way better as a three-wave structure. Okay, then what if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And then it comes back down in a three-wave. Well, then I'm going to be looking for a long opportunity, but I need to see another high first. I need to see another high. And then this, very interesting. Okay, this little pivot, that little pivot is not allowed to tap that little pivot, and it did not. Okay, I checked it before the live stream. If I take a magnet and I snap it onto this high, okay, you can see it did not get claimed. So in this scenario, for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you should not claim, you should not tap the red line. It will invalidate that scenario. Okay, so if price turns around here and it takes the high and it falls back down, I'm going to be looking for a longing opportunity, because then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I see a 5-wave structure and I see a 3-wave corrective structure, that becomes very interesting for a longing opportunity. Okay, then I'm going to start giving priority to the bulls, at least for one more leg here to the upside. That's the leg I want to trade. Okay. Right, legends, I think I have basically covered all the scenarios that I see currently here on the price of Bitcoin. For those of you that did play the breakout, the Legends Pro community, I did provide this little breakout. Okay, and I mean, look at that beautiful retest. This was the other one that we were keeping an eye on. Not the prettiest, very choppy, but it did not take the low. If you had your stop loss where you're supposed to take your stop loss. So for the pro community that did take the long year to the upside, congratulations. I hope you took some profits. Position is protected, because you know there's always a chance to smack that low back once again. Okay, maybe leave some open for higher levels. Right. Let's go through some comments. I'm great. Oh, Mr. Andy, 3 days left and I'm back, Mr. Andy, here in the live stream. For those of you that don't know, I did mention it on Friday. Unfortunately, Mr. Andy, the legend himself, got a little bit of a slap on the wrist from YouTube. He did or said or did something, and he doesn't know what he did wrong, because YouTube is so vague in their communication. He got a strike on his YouTube account. He's not allowed to go live for 7 days. Like he said, he's got 3 days left, and then he'll do another stream. And so, I mean, it's a pity, you know, when you get a slap on the wrist and you don't know what you did wrong, and now you have to try and figure out, you know, what did I do wrong so that I don't repeat that mistake. But Mr. Andy will be live again in 3 days. For now, you have to be stuck with my pretty face. Okay. But great to see you here, Mr. Andy. 3 days left. Yes, stop the show. Al Professor has arrived. Andy, hope you're doing great. Yes, Mr. Andy, let's go, Dewald. Didn't see them until we go to 92K. I can't hear any bear right now. Right. Okay. I think these are basically the comments for now. How long? Okay. How long? The scenario worked from 2 weeks ago. The scenario worked from 2 weeks ago. I think you guys are talking or having conversations amongst yourself. Afternoon, Dewald, Stefan1, Legends, Mike, and Matter, welcome. Joan, hello Dewald and Legend, always great to see you. Yeah, great guys. This Joan, I hope this is, I think this is the right Joan. A great Elliott wave counter inside of our community help. I think he shares way more scenarios that I share on a daily basis because he looks at every possibility that can play out, and he also focuses on the 5 minute and 5 minute and 15-minute time frame like a little pro inside of our community every single day. Miss Andy streams. Yes, I also miss Andy streams. Dewald is the legend, and so is Andy. See you soon, Andy. Yes, I think Andy will be back in 3 days, and he's prepping. He is getting ready. I'm sure he's burning to be live already, misses the community. And I'm sure everyone is wondering where Andy is, because not everyone is subscribed. That's also subscribed to Andy. So if you guys can get the word out, Andy will be back in 3 days. He's still here, guys. He's still here. Okay. Based on timing, the flat correction. Based on timing, does the flat correction valid? So from the bottom of the bear market So from the okay. I see what you mean. Okay, let's go here onto the daily time frame. I see what you mean. Yes, it's... Ooh, that's interesting. From the... Where is that bottom? I have to go and find it there. That was the bottom. Okay, so from the bottom to... Okay, I'll draw... to the top. From a timing perspective, that is very interesting. I actually did not check the timing. Now the question is, okay, which one was the toppy over here? The toppy over here. Okay, let's just give the bulls the benefit of the doubt. Yes, it is valid because it's at the moment. So I think even if I move it to this little pivot, okay, so this is your bull market, 1 2 3 4 5. This is your A, B, C, and it's finishing after the minimum requirement. So yes, from a timing perspective, it is valid. So what I was scared to see is that if this was before the 0.382. So yes, this is valid. Bull market, bear market, continuation in that specific scenario. Okay, ABC flat, A, B, C. And like I said, guys, the reason I'm giving the ABC the highest and a higher probability if price doesn't turn around from where it is right now is because of the 3 waves to the upside. This. Okay, so that's your 5. You have an A, a B, and your C to the downside. And the reason I like this ABC flat is because of this structure. Or the low is in, but we need to build impulsive structures back to the upside. You still maintain the higher low. This was the end, so this moves over here. Okay, well, you guys know it's that, where's my brush? It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your contracting, leading diagonal. You have an A, W, X, Y to the downside, and you find continuation back to the upside. By the way, guys, the ABC flat will be more bullish. Okay, way more bullish. Just by the way, if price turns around here and it goes back up, maybe we get lucky if we hit $150,000. If price takes the low and then it goes up, we could be expecting a higher explosion from Bitcoin, because that could give the scenario in the ABC flat, okay, that what goes up here could be a 3rd wave. What goes up here could be the final push. And then you top out, and then we start a bear market. Okay, but this, after taking this low in an ABC flat, is way more bullish than stopping here and going back up. Right, unless it's a running flat. Okay, A, B, running flat, C. But even in an ABC, you still expect 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. It's going to take the low, guys. It's going to take the low. If this is a C wave, it's going to take the low, because you have the highest amount of volume in your 3rd wave. You still expect a 4 5 4 5. High chance you're going to take the low. So in an ABC flat, that could be way more bullish for the price of Bitcoin. in that specific scenario, if it is an ABC flat. Okay, it's basically the scenario. Okay, bull market ended over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C. Takes the low, took the highs. That's your flat structure. And then when you have 5 waves up, you have a flat corrective structure. Well, you know, you could get a third explosive wave to the upside. Unless, oh, that will be very frustrating. After an ABC, what do you get? You know, I can imagine the classroom saying together, a wave or a W. Okay, you get an A or a W. You create a B. You create another C, okay, or 3 waves. So you could literally extend the correction. Now, I mean, that would be very boring. Okay, that's going to be difficult, guys. Because an ABC flat, yes, you want this to be the end and continuation. But an ABC also equals either an A wave or a W. So you could still get an X, you could still get a Y or a C. Okay, so, well, guys, there's a lot of trading opportunities in these scenarios, okay? I'm a day trader at the end of the day. There's many trading scenarios. All I want is my trading plans to get executed. I'm looking for a short, I'm looking for a long, I'm looking for a short, I'm looking for a long, and I just trade the momentum. Okay, there's little trends that's going to break out. If it breaks out, well, I'm looking for a long. As it goes here to the upside, TP1, you know, you have your TP areas to the upside. I mean, there's plenty of day trading opportunities. So I actually don't care which scenario plays out, as long as I can trade it, okay, from a day trading perspective. Right. What is CVD doing, by the way? Let's just refresh this. Yeah, it looks like that local 5-wave structure is going to be invalidated. As soon as you claim this low, you're going to invalidate that local 5-wave structure. Okay. As soon as you claim this low, you're going to invalidate. Yes, Dewald, you said it. You said it. Guys, as always, just as a reminder, links for the exchanges that I use on a daily basis down in the description. Bluffin, 15% cashback. Weeks, 20% cashback, 25% discount on your trading fees. BTCC, you can trade commodities. Okay, up to $10,000 sign-up bonus as well. If you want to join our Legends Pro community, link always down in the description. Cost you nothing extra. I have my disclaimers, guys. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I do this for education and entertainment purposes only. So you can go and read through the disclaimer over here. Okay, and those are basically the scenarios that I wanted to discuss. Thanks, Dewald. Absolute pleasure, man. Okay, thanks, Dewald. Absolute pleasure. Stefan1, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you all in the next one. Have a great Monday. Cheers for now.